Hey guys, Wellness Wednesday today, and I wanted to connect and have a bit of a real conversation around leading into Christmas and the holidays. And it seems like a lot of people are feeling the momentum or the pressure building before Christmas, and I want to have a conversation around that, the stress that we put on ourselves, the stress that we feel, and we consciously choose to go into this month differently so that we are not feeling totally burnt out by the end of the month. And this is something like I have gone through this and go through this well, but there's this need to get stuff done, get everything completed, go to everything, do all the things, as well as on top of that, having family moments or having lots of, Christmas in general can be very triggering for people. It brings up memories. Sometimes there's been things that have happened, incidences that people will remember. A lot of people are lonely at Christmas. There's a lot of different stuff happening now because of restrictions, because of differences in opinions. I know some people who are not having their Christmas with their family because they're not vaccinated, or that they are vaccinated, or, there's lots of different things going on. And I want to talk about how we can go into this season differently and bring some consciousness into it so that we're not going to burn out and we don't get to, when we actually have a break, if we do have a break, and go, oh my God, I'm exhausted, and then just spend the whole time recovering and don't really, we need to start to look at the way that we perceive this time of year and the actions and the habits that we've got around this time of year, and how we can actually go into this differently with some more consciousness to look after ourselves, to create a container for ourselves, to keep ourselves regulated so we're feeling calm. And if we are feeling things come up, emotions, emotional triggers, that we give ourselves the space to feel it and also don't make ourselves wrong for it. So, it's a conversation that we need to have. I know, for me, I was thinking about this Christmas is really going to be an interesting one for me, because the last few Christmases I've had, my mum passed away a few years ago, and it was just after Christmas. So Christmas 3 years ago, she was in hospital, and we had Christmas with her in hospital, and it was only a few weeks before she passed away. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, this is actually the first Christmas, hopefully, that I'll get down to Dad's and have Christmas down there, because the last couple of years there was the bushfires. Last year we were where I live was in restrictions, so I couldn't leave anywhere at Christmas. I actually had a really awesome Christmas, but nevertheless I couldn't be with my dad for Christmas. And so this is the first Christmas for me, really, that I'm going to be down at my parents' place with my dad's new partner, who's not that new anymore, and having a different sort of Christmas. And so it is bringing stuff up for me. And I also know there's a lot of people around me who are, like I said, having family. It can be highly emotional, highly volatile, with families and disagreements and people that you don't necessarily aren't your people, but you're around them during this holiday season. And so I just want to share with you some things that will hopefully give you some perspective on this, or perhaps allow you to inquire about yourself and go, can I choose the way I go about this differently? How can I look after myself going throughout this? And can I consciously choose to do it differently this year? Because I think we get defaulted into, and I've done this so many times, particularly when I worked a job and didn't work for myself, and the need to do this is coming up with me to get everything done, to finish things off for the end of the year, and do until the end of the year and then stop. And I just had the thought the last few days, I'm like, I'm actually going to not do that this year, or do my best to set an intention to not do that, and to look after myself and to find balance and to still do what I need to do, but where can I find the balance in that, so that it's not just all burnout. I don't burn out. And so I think there's a couple of questions we've got to ask ourselves. So if you're watching this and this is resonating and you're like, yes, this is me, I get super stressed, I'm running around doing a million things, I'm trying to go to all these functions, I'm trying to I say yes to everything, I don't look after myself, my eating, my habits, my self-care habits go out the window, and then I burn out. Here's some questions that I think would be really helpful to ask yourself about what's the conditioning and programming that you've got around this time of year, and can I first inquire as to that behavior first, and then can I start to go, okay, we set some intentions and really be intentional each day to keep looking after myself, to care for myself, to regulate myself, so that I'm going through this and not going, I will prioritize my health, my self-care on January 1st or 2nd after the season. Start now. Make a choice now. Decide now to choose to change, or to choose to keep looking after yourself, because we can fall into that habit. So here are the questions. First of all, do I get stressed? How do I normally react? What's the story that I'm telling myself around this type of year? So here's an example. It's so stressful at this time of year. It's so crazy at this time of year. Everyone's saying that. Even the term silly season, is it? And it is, but we're also choosing that and buying into that dialogue. Am I trying to get everything finished? Does everything need to be finished? Because there's always going to be a to-do list. Do I overcommit? Do I burn myself out normally? Do I still, what's my self-care like when in this time of year generally? What does this time of year bring up for me in terms of family, triggers, anniversaries, etc.? What's my diet like? And what are my habits like with that? And does everything normally get thrown out the window and I just be like, oh my God, screw it? Or do I choose my times where I'm going to enjoy myself and then have balance? So it's like, the other thing about this season is they talk about this in Christmas carols and Christmas movies and stuff like that, is giving and receiving. It's time to give, it's also time to receive. And it's like breathing, inhale, exhale, giving and receiving. And so a lot of us, me included, are conditioned to not be able to receive, which is the feminine energy. And it can be really challenging and it can bring stuff up in us, but we need to have equal inhale, exhale to find balance. And this is how you don't burn out. And so with giving and doing, with not doing, where is there balance? How are you giving? How are you receiving? It's not just about give, 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 give. I'm not just talking about physical gifts. I'm talking about your presence. I'm talking about overcommitting. I'm talking about your self-care. What do you need to keep yourself in check? What do you need to help yourself feel connected? And what do you need to do to bring about, what are the actions that you do day in, day out, or you need to do? I'm not going to use the word should, because there's judgment in the word should. but what do you know you need to do to keep yourself centered? Is this exercise? Is this the way I eat 80% of the time? Is it giving myself some naps or rest, having earlier nights if I need it? I actually did a webinar last night on understanding the seasons of your cycle, and I talk about this a lot, and it was with this beautiful group of women where I was invited to speak and share around hormones and hormonal issues, and I was sharing about the seasons of your cycle and going, okay, well, our period is our winter, that's more time to rest. Ovulation is summer, that's time to be super social. So and then within that phase, like pre-ovulation and post-ovulation, we have different capabilities. Our ability to be able to take stuff on or deal with stuff or get stuff done, etc., is different every single day of our cycle. Our brain functions differently. And that's also understanding that there is a giving and receiving, inhale, exhale. You know, like you think about an animal that is a nocturnal animal or a seasonal animal, and they hibernate in winter and then they come out in summer and will be out and about. It's the same sort of thing. And so going, yes, I've not only got this season of the year, but I've also got to honour my own body's seasons as a female, and know that there are also going to be times to rest. If that resonates with you and you want more info on that, please comment below, or please send me a direct message and I can send you info on that, because I have done stuff on that before. And yeah, it's like, what does it bring up with me when I can receive, or if I can receive, and how am I looking after myself, just like breathing. And so what are the questions, what are the things that you know are your patterns that aren't serving? I choose to be stressed, I overcommit, I don't look after myself. And how are you going to set, what intention are you going to set, and what's your intention, as in what's your desired outcome to come out of this season or go through this season with? So what do you want from this? I would love to go, I am going to go through this month with grace and flow. I'm going to have equal balance of fun and focus. I'm going to really just not buy into the bullshit of the stories, and I'm going to really focus on just keeping myself regulated, filling up my cup, looking after myself, keep exercising, eating well, because I know that's what keeps me on track. And I want to go into next year not burnt out. I want to go into next year ready to go and feeling amazing. And so that will include rest over the break and giving myself time to rest and reflect as well. But I think it's very easy for us to go, I'm just going to work, I'm going to be frantic, and then I'll rest at the holidays. It's like, okay, but yes, there is a truth in that, but there's also a story in that, because we can bring that into, you know, why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't we bring that into now? How can we look after ourselves now? Because that comes to that same theory of, I'll look after myself 1st of January, or once this is over, I'll look after myself. No, like, choose it now. It's an active choice every single day, and we've got to start changing the dialogue that with ourselves around that, and prioritizing ourselves. And then this comes down to how we view ourselves, how our own conversation that we have ourselves, and the way we talk to ourselves, and our own self-worth ultimately. And this is why this is such a triggering season for people, because a lot of us have all these, we don't know how to regulate ourselves, and many of us don't go through processes and look after ourselves, and it will implode at this time of year because we haven't got the tools to manage our nervous system. We haven't got the foundation right, and then there is implosion that happens with family triggers and stress and lack of sleep and stuff that happens at the same time, right? So set an intention. How do you want to go about this season? How do you want to go into this month? What would you like to receive this month, and what are you going to give? So intention, there needs to be equal breathing in, giving and receiving. What outcome would you like? Okay, and how are you going to support your health and your nervous system through this process? Give yourself time to breathe. Like, actually really breathe. I do this a lot with my clients, like really get them to breathe deep and teach them how to breathe, because a lot of us don't breathe when we get highly stressed. So remembering to breathe, so reminding yourself to breathe throughout the day, giving yourself time to reflect when you feel stressed, what's the underlying feelings, like creating a space to actually feel those feelings and not making yourself wrong for them. Moving your body, making a conscious choice to look after yourself, all of those, and getting lots of rest. And of course, eating good food. And so the food, moving into the food part, I also know that there is social commitments, there is Christmas parties, there is dinners, things like that. And can you make a commitment to what's your intention with how you're going to commit? Now, here's my advice. Can you, and this is what I'm telling a lot of my clients, it's like, okay, what commitment can you make to yourself to add in more vegetables, to make sure I've still got lots of living foods on my plate? Can I make sure that I'm drinking lots of clean filtered water? And pick your events. So you might have for example, I have a birthday party that's very close to Christmas that I'm going to, and it's going to be really fun. There's lots of friends of mine going. It's sort of going to be my Christmas party because I work for myself. I don't have a team to have a Christmas event with, and it's going to be my Christmas party. And so I'm consciously going, no, that is going to be my fun time, and I'm going to have fun with it. All right. There's also a few other things, but I've picked them. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. These are the things I'm going to really enjoy. Maybe there's other events that you need to go to that you can consciously go, no, I'm not going to drink alcohol. And that moves on to alcohol. Maybe I still encourage all my clients just to go, still making sure you're eating gluten-free, and then you're eating lots of veggies, and then you choose what your balance is going to be, whether that be a dessert or something like that you really love, but it also depends on where your health is at. And for me, gluten-free and dairy-free is how I operate, and it's still that way over Christmas, because I just know that it's not worth the feeling the way I will feel if I have those foods. So I'm going to find ways to still feel like I'm part of the festive season, but still look after my gut, essentially, right? And do it from a place of love, not fear. And then alcohol, same thing. Choose your events. Do you need to drink at every single event? What is your alcohol of choice? Can you be very conscious of what sort of things you're drinking that may have a lot of sugar in them? Things like champagne, wine, a white wine. Can you go for more red wine or soda water, and some sort of spirit, or mixing it up and having soda water in between? Like, just being really going. And also, here's another question. How are you when you drink? Because I notice a lot of people are quite obnoxious when they drink, and if there's stuff that's coming out, that's often when people get triggered. If you know you're going to be around people who are going to be challenging, maybe just be mindful as well of how much you're drinking alcohol, and if things do escalate when alcohol is involved, like I've noticed people can become obnoxious, or their filter gets removed. Just something to think about. And I also know there's lots of uncomfortable family conversations. And so when you are around family, particularly, making sure that you're centered and you're looking after yourself and you're connected to yourself first. You're doing your rituals before you go and do them. So there's some tips on food. you know, I think with particularly food and sugar and from a hormone balancing point of view, stress is the biggest one. Stress is like you've got to manage that cortisol, but then it's also going, okay, am I still going to eat lots of vegetables? You know, be conscious of how much sugar you're consuming and pick your poison when you want to have it, but it's not, and I don't think it's an excuse to go for a free-for-all, because then you're going to have to work for it, and there's always times where you let your hair down, and there's nothing wrong with that, and don't make yourself wrong for it, but also, you know, be conscious of the stories that you have around food, or missing out, or the fear of missing out, or wanting to have everything, or saying to yourself, it doesn't matter, screw it, I'll start next year, particularly if you're working on a particular type of health condition. You know, if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get pregnant, sorry, I keep saying fall pregnant, it's weird. It's an Australian English thing, I think. You know, if you're working on hormonal imbalances, if you have an autoimmune condition, it's like, okay, how can I still look after myself and still honor that healing process without falling off the rails and still have fun? How can I bring fun into it? And what's my belief around the story that it's not fun if I do have that belief and looking at it? That is all. It was a little bit of a riff today. I hope it resonated. Now, one other thing about alcohol, just sort of then, is you can also go down the kombucha, sparkling, non-alcoholic option too. That's always a good one. You know, you can make some really awesome Christmas non-alcoholic cocktails that haven't got sugar in them, with things like kombucha and mineral water and lemons and strawberries and mint and stuff like that. That's a really great option. And you could mix it up and have that for a little bit and have a few glasses of wine. I do enjoy a glass of red, but you know, like, I think it's just choosing what you want to do, choosing and being intentional about it, so that, and then setting your intention beforehand and knowing where you come from and standing true in that. I hope that helped. If it resonated, please let me know. If you've got any questions, please comment below. I'd love to know what your intention is for the rest of the year, what your default programming is, and what you would like to start to change. It's like, I don't want to be in this stress state anymore. Like, what's the story that you're going to shift, or how you're going to go about this year differently and choose differently, and how are you going to look after yourself in this season? That is all. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.